Hey guys, this is Sarah from Future Dreams to Reality, and today I'm going to be showing you what to do once you have roots on your basil plants that you want to transplant. This is cinnamon basil. It applies to regular basil and most other herbs as well. So let's go ahead and get started. What you need is a pot, and since I have so many cuttings, this is a pretty decent sized pot. It's not huge, but it doesn't have to be super deep. It just has to be kind of big circumference. And then I have some potting soil in here and a coffee filter. And the coffee filter is because of the holes in the bottom. You're just going to place your coffee filter inside like so, and then pile your dirt on top of it. That still allows the water to drain out, but it keeps all of your soil from falling out of your pot. I have filled up my pot as far as I could because I ran out of potting soil, but I kind of scrounged some up out of this little pot that also had a coffee filter in the bottom, and just kind of used the rest of what I had. Most of these will probably poke up to the top, so I think it'll be okay, but I've got some rainwater in a little container, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this soaking in. And then I'm just going to invert it and put it back into the container. And I hope all of that was on shot because I was not paying attention. So I'm just going to let that kind of drain through, get everything nice and moist on the inside, and then we're going to go on to these guys. Now that everything is moist, you're going to want to save the water that you just flooded it with because you're going to water in your plants later on. Now for these guys, I'm not sure which ones have roots or not, so I'm just going to pull one, or attempt to pull one. This one has very small roots, so I'm going to actually put this one to the side. Even though you can see the buds coming out, there are some that have major root systems on there, and I'm just going to try and find one of those. Like this one isn't major, but it has more roots than the other one did. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set you down, get this situated, and go from there. Okay, so now that you have your roots on here, you're gonna break off these little leaves on the side. And even though they're new growth, I'm gonna snap those off as well. And I'm also gonna take off these leaves. And what this does is it takes the energy from the plant, and instead of going to these new shoots, it goes to the roots. And the further you bury the stem, the more roots you're gonna have. These are what happens when it's in the dirt, but it happens a lot quicker in the water. So what you're gonna do is you're basically going to kind of align all of these in the way that you want before you start poking holes and disturbing the dirt, because there's a lot that I have in my cup. So I have a lot to do, so I'll come back when all of that's done. So now that all of them are all lined up in the way that I want them to, I'm just taking a little stick and poking holes where I know that I'll be planting them, and just kind of laying them in there. I'm not packing the soil around, I'm not even burying them, to be honest. So once you have all of your holes poked, you're basically going to bury the stem as deep as possible, and I'm going to use the same stick to kind of push the dirt around. There are going to be some roots sticking up. I can already tell from the look of some of these, just because they were buried so deep in the water. But I'm just going to pack these around as best as I can. There is no rhyme or reason or any of that kind of thing. You're just kind of trying to get them all packed in with the dirt. And this won't take long at all. It's just a matter of trying not to damage everything all at once. And it looks like these were in the water a bit too deep, because there is a lot of roots on these that I didn't expect, because I thought I was going to have more dirt than what I do, but that's the last of my potting mix. I can't really say anything about it. I can't go in my backyard and dig up dirt because I've done that too much. So I'm just pressing all of these in, trying to angle their leaves outwards a little bit. Like I said before, I've taken off all of the new growth. I mean, not new growth, the leaves for the new growth. And you're watching this in real time. I'm not speeding anything up. This is just me covering up all of the exposed roots as best as I can. And then for the two middle ones, they're going to be a little bit more difficult because I have to watch out for all the other ones. And the last one. Okay, so now that pot is completely full of this basil, and now you're just going to take your water and gently kind of pour it in there, just to kind of settle the soil around the roots. I'm going to invert this again just to kind of save that water, and then I'm going to repeat this same process. This pot is overplanted. I know what all of you are going to say, that there's way too many in here for this amount of space because it's going to grow so fast. Yes, I've taken that into account, and I'm prepared to take out some of these and put it in another pot, but realty space right now is kind of limited because I have no soil, so I'm working with what I got, and this is the best way I know how. There's also going to be a loss, I know for sure, because it's going from complete water to complete soil. That's why I'm keeping it as wet as I am. I've already repeated that same flooding process 3 times to the point to where there's only that much left. So I'm gonna do it again until that much isn't left. So just keep your water extremely wet. I mean, keep the soil extremely wet to help with the transplant shock. These will go really wilty. They'll get very, very limp. They won't have their stiffness as they do now. This applies with regular basil and most herbs as well. This is the best way I know how to propagate herbs. I do not do well with seeds. I don't know why. It just, herbs don't grow very well from seed. I think it's because the viability of it decreases so rapidly that by the time you buy a packet of seeds, it's just over with. You have no chance. And if you do have a chance, it's very, very small. So anyway, yeah, this is how I transplant my rooted herbs. These two I'm going to put to the side because these have little flower buds on them. I have some other cinnamon basil that have flowers on them as well. I'm gonna let these go in the water and see what happens. The ones that are in the soil that have flowers are growing rapidly, actually, and I'm gonna try and save some seeds from them and see if I can start some cinnamon basil that way. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, anything like that, just kind of leave it down below in the comment section, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!